Hey, are you a business owner, entrepreneur, or professional? If so, we want you to apply to be a featured guest on our show. My name is Adam Torres, and I host the Mission Matters series of podcasts. I've recorded over 3,000 episodes, and we are just getting started. How do you know if you'd be a good guest to be on the show? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to apply, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We want guests that have a story to tell, guests with a brand, a product, or a service that can benefit my audience of listeners. If this sounds like you, go to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about your story. Again, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a guest on the show, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today I have Meaghan Ziemba on the line, and she's owner of Z Ink Solutions and host of Mavens of Manufacturing. Meaghan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Adam. I appreciate it.
All right, so I'm excited to get into Mavens of Manufacturing and really what you're doing there. But before we do, so Meaghan, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. So that's our mission here. Meaghan, what mission matters to you?
So one of my main missions that really matters to me is bringing awareness to the opportunities that are opening up here in the United States for manufacturing, because right now the sector is experiencing a skills gap that is definitely going to increase over the next 5 to 10 years. So my main mission with Mavens of Manufacturing is bringing awareness to all of those opportunities that are going to be coming available and trying to help recruit younger generations, specifically women, to the sector so that we can start filling those positions and thrive as a manufacturing powerhouse on a global scale.
Man, I love bringing these mission-based companies to the show and to my audience. I'll tell you, so I've had some other people on and from the manufacturing sector in Wisconsin and just all over the place, actually. And I'm from Michigan originally, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And I love to have people out there doing work like yourself. So let's just dive right into it. So tell us a little bit more about Mavens of Manufacturing.
So Mavens of Manufacturing is a live video broadcasting series that I started back in December, and it celebrates women in manufacturing from the shop floor to the C-suite, and audiences really have a chance to hear a variety of stories and learn how women are setting the new standards for American manufacturing and changing the world. So some of the main objectives and focuses of the series is, like I mentioned before, bringing more awareness to U.S. manufacturing to help increase our nation's competitive edge from the rest of the world, and also recruiting younger generations to the engineering and manufacturing sectors so that we can decrease both the skills gap and the gender gaps, and to create a platform for mentors so that we can attract younger generations and connect them and help them network with people who are already in the sector, whether that's through mentorships or apprenticeships or internships. And the main one is attracting more women to the sector so that we can increase our presence and fill more of those vacancies that are expected over the next 5 to 10 years. And then also providing a platform for different brands and companies to share their stories and get connected with potential customers and even potential employees who might be able to fill the vacancies that they're having a hard time filling right now.
So what do you think is one of the challenges that are leading to this? Because I've had this discussion for quite a few people, and we look at, in the past, people moving to the cities and kind of like leaving towns maybe where manufacturing traditionally was, things like that. But from your vantage point, because you're working in this day in and day out, I mean, what are some of the reasons for this gap?
Well, the main issue right now is a lot of the baby boomers who are in manufacturing, they're coming up close to retirement. So there's a ton of employees that are reaching a retirement age and they're going to leave the industry. Some articles call it the gray wave, which I think is kind of funny. But
that is funny. I never heard that, the gray wave. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and then from other conversations that I've had through Maven, there's a big misconception that manufacturing is either dirty, dark, dull, or dangerous to be in. So a lot of people don't want to enter that kind of work environment. And for some, they might think that, hey, there's not opportunities for me to, grow in a leadership position or really to expand. And then there's also the misconception that if you are within manufacturing, you have to attend like a 4-year type college environment to, get certification or get a degree to actually be really successful within the sector, which is not the case at all.
How does brand storytelling, and I know that's one of your specialties, just in your day-to-day work, like how does that relate? And I'll tell you the funny thing that I've always thought. I'm like, if we can just make manufacturing Instagrammable, then we'll be fine. Like, cause then all the millennials, us millennials, would be like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. They just gonna make it Instagrammable. I know it's more complicated than that. I don't want to oversimplify, but that's in my head. I'm like, Hollywood spent all this time showing that like factories are supposed to be this, like you said, dark, dirty, whatever. And now there's so much robotics and there's so many things, and it's just so cool now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's my bias. But how does brand storytelling like relate to all of this?
So you hit it right on the head with, make it Instagrammable. And the thing is stories are what attracts people. If you have a good story that really connects to a person on the human level, it's about building that trust and making them excited about what makes you excited. So with brand storytelling, a lot of manufacturers are used to doing that outbound type of marketing where they're, setting up cold calls or creating ads that, might be seen in print or digital areas. But with inbound marketing, what you're actually doing is creating a human-to-human connection with who your audience is. And it's important to be authentic. It's important to be transparent. It's important to show your vulnerabilities, because if your customers don't trust you, they're not going to purchase from you. So you really need to think about remarketing your brand to have it hit all of those emotional cues. And you have to show, your audience, hey, I'm human too, but here's what we're doing to provide value to some of your pain points. And manufacturers that are doing that are actually becoming more successful. So some of the companies that I've already talked to, they're re-strategizing some of their ideas and actually incorporating TikTok. They're incorporating Snapchat, and even more and more manufacturers are starting to get on Instagram. So you're starting to see their story from the shop floor to some of their office operations, and you get that inside scoop of who they are, and they're showing that they're human just like the rest of us, and that's really helping consumers trusting them and what they do and wanting to buy from them and be lifelong customers of theirs.
Man, I love it. They need you, Meaghan. I love it. Like brand storytelling in manufacturing. If we go back, in 10 years, we wouldn't be having this discussion. The manufacturers would be like, what? Yeah. But now that like you said, there's a need. Like even if you want to attract employees, if you want to attract your staff, people they need to know and feel like what you're doing is cool. And when you said TikTok for manufacturing, I'm like, man, my TikTok is not that good, but I don't have manufacturing. I'm just a guy in front of a studio all day, whatever. Like, I don't think it's that good. And but manufacturing or all these other things, I'm like, now this is cool. Like, show the robots, show what you're doing, show the story, show what your history, show the founders. I mean, show how this came about, what you've done in the town, what you do in the community. Because so many manufacturers are like pillars of the community, but they have to show it. Like, you can't just do it anymore. You have to show.
Yeah, and that's the thing is people really like short bits of information, and TikTok's a really good avenue for that because it's short videos, right? So you can make like 10 to 15 small short videos and do it in a fun, entertaining, engaging way. And, storytelling is even more important now with the skills gap that's coming up because, you want to be able to show that you're a fun work culture to be a part of. And employees aren't going to go to companies where, they don't think it's going to provide value. Like with all of these younger generations, one of the things that's top of mind is they're into providing value. They want to know that they're doing something that's helping other people out. And if you're not showing that you're one of those companies, then they're going to pass you up and they're not going to even consider, coming in and filling some of those vacancies that are open. So it's really important that, manufacturers showcase what value they're providing to their communities and making sure that, hey, this is the value that we're providing. We're a great work culture. And even now with all of the digital stuff that's coming up, there's even more opportunities for people to join manufacturing because it's not just those typical, welding positions or CNC positions. You mentioned robotics. So they're going to need programmers. They're going to need coders. They're going to need maintenance people to fix those robotics. So there's a plethora of things opening up, and it's bringing awareness to those opportunities. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to create Mavens, because I feel like we need to change the way we're recruiting for manufacturing and changing the way we're talking about it so that parents, when their students are going through high school, middle school, elementary school, and thinking about college, parents can understand that, yeah, I don't have to save all this money to set my kid up for a 4-year plan to go to some major university. They can do like a tech school or vocational school and get paid while doing hands-on experience. And then after they're done with their apprenticeship or internship, they're all ready for, for working, and they have that experience.
No, that's great. And one quick thing I'll throw out there is you mentioned the welding position. Well, I had on somebody who actually has a pretty big company in central Wisconsin, and this is a little bit of knowledge for me that I learned. Welding positions are different. It's robotics, and he told a story on there about a company the Central Wisconsin something I can't remember the name of it, but they put together a regional program to teach kids welding, like all the way starting in, obviously they're not using the welder at this age, but like in middle school and that going all the way through college. And he told a story. He says, our best welder, it's a woman, and she's probably all of like 5'2", and she weighs all of 100 pounds, and she's amazing, and she kills all the guys, and she's laughing, and they're telling this story on the show, and I'm like, wow. Like Hollywood did a number on us, like welding, these other positions, these other things. Yeah. It's a whole different world now of manufacturing, which is exciting to me because it's just providing opportunity, and it's not like everybody would think. And with you doing stories, helping people with brand telling and other things like that, I just I feel good about the direction that manufacturing will be heading overall, because I do see this shift. So that being said, Meaghan. First off, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. I do have to ask, so if somebody wants to learn more about what you're doing over at, of course, two things. Number one, of course, if they want to follow Mavens of Manufacturing, like how do they get involved with that content? And then also, I do know that you're helping people in the manufacturing realm with things like copywriting and otherwise. I mean, how do people connect with your brand overall?
So the best way to connect with me is to look me up on LinkedIn. I'm very engaging on there. I reach out to people, through InMail and make a ton of connections on there, and I'm pretty good about answering DMs, so feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. But also, ziinksolutions.com is where you can see my services that I provide for manufacturers when it comes to content creation. And then for Mavens of Manufacturing, you can go to mavensofmanufacturing.com. There's also a link on that site where you can schedule time with me if you have a story to share and you're just one of those women who is changing the world through manufacturing. I would love to have you on the show. So go to mavensofmanufacturing.com, click that link, and you can schedule a pre-briefing with me, and then we can do a live show, later in this year, hopefully, and just continue attracting the right generations to come into manufacturing and boosting that sector up so that we can start stabilizing all of our communities through, the economy.
Fantastic. Well, Meaghan, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about all the great things that you're doing over at Mavens of Manufacturing. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you learned a lot. If you did, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We want you to be a return listener and a return visitor. And Meaghan, thanks again. I'm really happy to bring your mission to our audience.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.